Council, please come to order. We'll be led in opening prayer by President Pro Tem Mark Betancourt.
Almighty God, we ask for your blessing upon the members of this council as we assemble here in this chamber to conduct the ongoing business of our city. With your guidance, we will strive to ensure that all our decisions are for the common good, and your inspiration will instill respect, compassion, and thoughtfulness in all our deliberations. Give us the strength and wisdom to lead by example as the people's representatives, and that peace and harmony will mark all our proceedings and keep us faithful to the trust placed in us by the citizens of your community. Amen.
Amen.
Alderman Wilson, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would all please remain standing. I would ask for a moment of silence on behalf of our friend Jason Vincent and his family at this time, please. Thank you. Just a quick note for the public record, this meeting is being held tonight on January 4th, 2021, in compliance with Executive Order 7B-1 announced by Governor Ned Lamont back on the 14th of March, 2020. During this meeting, we will invite members to speak to us on any issue that they are concerned about under the general citizen comment provisions. If someone wants to call in, that number is 860-215-8140, and then you'll be prompted to enter a conference ID at 403-8191, and then the pound key. All correspondence, emails, and such that were delivered to us on time, the emails, I believe, were due by 7 p.m. this afternoon or this evening, and any written correspondence were due by 4:30 p.m. to be included as part of the public record. Citizen comment on resolutions, that is also using the same phone number, which is 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID 403-8191. And we look forward to hearing from the general public. Thank you. At this time, I'd ask for the adoption of the minutes of December 7th and of 21st, 2020. Thank you. Alderwoman Ella Miles, second by Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Seeing none, could we have a roll call, please?
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Betancourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0. State of the City address by Mayor Peter Albert Nystrom.
Good evening, everyone. First, let me welcome you all to the new year. With 2020 behind us, I hope that we will have optimism throughout our community as we move forward. The year in review has unquestionably been one of the most daunting challenges that everyone has faced. COVID-19 has rewritten our societal norms. And as people, we thrive on getting together, seeing friends, spending time with our families. Here in the council chambers, the participation of our public has been removed due to COVID. The executive orders established by Governor Lamont, while clearly offered with the best intentions to keep the public safe, have limited public access. The same impact of denying public access to our small businesses and restaurants has placed a significant burden on them as well. I'm happy to say that has not gone unnoticed, nor has that been ignored by our city. as we reached out to help and create outdoor dining facilities, even shutting down the road that passes along City Hall itself. Our local lending institutions, as well as the Norwich Community Development Corporation, led by Jason Vincent, were extremely supportive in helping businesses receive funds from the federal government. Thankfully, additional dollars have been made available at this time. In total, almost $1 million to help small businesses, families, and others get through this cold winter months. Specifically, $419,000 in COVID HUD funds and another $550,000 additional CARE funds are going to be available. I want to particularly thank the Norwich Public Utilities and their staff for all that they are doing for this community. Like the city side of government, they too are playing a vital role in helping people. Going forward, we are putting together an operations team that will oversee the distribution of these funds. I want to invite additional small businesses in our community and families in need to seek assistance as this program unfolds. I've asked NCDC and Kathy Kreese from the Norwich Community Development Block Grant Program to expedite this effort. Authorization for this effort was in fact supported by a resolution of the entire City Council, and I extend my thanks to them as well. Clearly, our work as a city government is only just beginning. The process of distributing these available dollars from the federal government will allow us to also protect the many small businesses that have invested in our community over the last several years and further, particularly the minority-owned businesses that you can see in Foundry 66 and other areas in downtown and across the city. We must continue to acknowledge that controlling the growth in spending locally is important. Our council will be voting on its second budget this current year that will impact investors' decisions, including the decision to purchase a home in our community. Acknowledging that what we invest in and how it can stimulate or stop grand growth is vitally important. Soon after COVID hit, I implemented weekly calls every Friday morning with our state senator, Kathy Austin, our state representatives, our city department heads, Angela Adams of the Greater Norwich Area Chamber of Commerce, Jillian Corbin of the St. Vincent de Paul Soup Kitchen, our President Pro Tem, Mark Betancourt, the General Manager of NPU, Chris LaRose, and our City Manager, John Solomon. We were also joined by the Uncas Health District, led by Pat McCormick, and he has been an integral part of these discussions, providing COVID updates and strategies in order to put best practices in place for the people of Norwich. I have been particularly impressed with our Superintendent of Schools, Kristen Stringfellow, the staff of the Norwich Public Schools, and our Board of Education, as they have had to respond daily to continued impacts of COVID while keeping our kids safe and providing them an education. She too has been on these calls. Dr. Brian Kelly of NFA, Linda Allen of Norwich's School Readiness Programs, and Ellen Rittel of the Integrated Day Charter School were also a valuable part of these discussions. It would be a mistake not to acknowledge the hardships that businesses have endured here in Norwich. At the moment, the issue as to whether or not minor league baseball will continue in our city remains. We lost the copper producing plant, Freeport McMahon, and the shutdown of ALO services has impacted revenues to our own Norwich Public Utilities. I'm proud to say that this was not ignored and that we reached out, marshaled state services to help place the affected workers in new employment. And I can tell you today that many of them have accepted new employment. As a member of the Eastern Workforce Investment Board CEO Council, I am grateful that we assisted in this effort, as well as those in the manufacturing community here in Eastern Connecticut. Our city also responded appropriately to the concerns of many of our citizens during a prayer vigil and peaceful rallies. We gathered together, giving voice for our people who needed to share the concerns regarding police accountability. With almost immediate response, local community leaders and community police officers took action to gather every week and continue their dialogue. This has led to community activities such as sprucing up playgrounds and skate parks, monthly gatherings referred to as Coffee with a Cop, hosted by Foundry 66, and in the warmer times, a community picnic was held in Mohegan Park, and another family picnic was hosted at the Daniel Jenkins Park on Mechanic Street. These community building events are fostering better awareness and understanding of the role of police officers to build stronger relations. I want to thank Sergeant Rankin, all the officers who contribute, and the local citizens who participate in this community effort. Police Chief Patrick Daly is fully supportive of these efforts and attends when possible. Anyone in the general public is always welcome. These efforts have sparked progressive ideas to move toward the goal of improving social equality and equity for people of all color and walks of life. In building relationships takes the collective collaborative effort of everyone. Additionally, our city is taking advantage of every opportunity to foster food security through our community. I want to give thanks to Jillian Corbin, Director of St. Vincent de Paul Soup Kitchen, and Leanne Gomes, Director of Human Services, for their tireless efforts. Planning Director Deanna Rhodes and Alderwoman Stacy Gould organized Bags for Hunger. This program raised over $4,400 to purchase gift cards for food at local supermarkets. Together, they have been rock stars filling the gaps for families in need. I know for a fact that they've inspired others to step up as well. As a city, we have hosted food distribution sites during the past year, and we may have the opportunity to bring other food pantries to this community as the need continues. In an effort to grow the grand list, I will be asking our City Council to consider and review the possibility of a new compliance grant program. The current program, or the Downtown Bond Program, ends April of this year, 2021. This program was made possible by the voters of the City of Norwich and the Norwich City Council in 2010, as they supported the referendum allowing for its creation. As I've seen firsthand the need for development in other parts of our community, I would request that the two components be for code compliance assistance and rental rebate assistance. The current downtown program has generated $7 in private investment for every dollar in public investment for code compliance. The program generated $13 in private investments for every dollar invested in assistance for rental rebates. This time, however, I would suggest that we focus on a program that helps development throughout the city, following the neighborhood identified in the Norwich's adopted plan of conservation and development. The Panema Mills project continues to grow as they are working to add an additional 77 units of housing. But I would suggest that further dialogue with our council and the developer is required for this to go further. For myself, I've been incredibly inspired by the generosity and resiliency that so many people and small businesses have demonstrated over the past year. Even while many have struggled, they continue with their philanthropy and support for our nonprofit organizations. And now, with a light at the end of a very long tunnel, that is a dark one, we must all keep our local businesses in mind and help them recover so that they can either hire or rehire employees who have been let go or move forward to make the investments that were delayed during the pandemic. In closing, I ask everyone to be vigilant. The dispersal of the vaccine is giving us hope, but we cannot let our guard down. Continue to wear a mask for yourself and your family members. Please practice social distancing and take nothing for granted. Norwich will get through this, but not without your determination and diligence. I wish you and your families a healthy and happy 2021. Thank you.
Public hearing number 1. An ordinance amending ordinance number 1789, adopted September 21st, 2020, pertaining to the exemption for the Norwich Roman Catholic Diocesan Corporation from the payment of taxes on certain property located at 25 Otis Street from the date of purchase.
Thank you. At this time, I declare this public hearing open, and if there's anyone wishing to speak in support of this ordinance, at this time, please use the phone number listed on the screen. The number is 860-215-8140, followed by the conference call or ID 403-8191. The line is open. Again, I would request anyone like to speak in favor of this ordinance to please dial in at 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID 403-8191.
Marvin Cerruto, 100 Star Street, Norwich, Connecticut, United States of America. I would like to say that I am in favor of the ordinance supporting the Diocese of Norwich. I would also like to extend my condolences for everyone who knew or was related to Jason Vincent. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you, sir. Again, the lines are open, and we value your opinions. Please call in at 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID 403-8191 and the pound key. Again, the number to dial in is 860-215-8140, followed by conference ID 403-8191 and the pound key. This is our third request for anyone wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance. The call-in number is 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID 403-8191 and the pound key. At this time, I'm going to request if there's anyone who wishes to speak against this ordinance, please call in at 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID 403-8191 and the pound key. It's our second request. If you wish to speak against this ordinance, please call in. The number is 860-215-8140, followed by conference ID 403-8191 and the pound key. This is our third request. If you wish to speak against this ordinance, please call the number 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID 403-8191. Seeing as there are no other callers at this time, I would declare the public hearing closed.
Second reading and action. An ordinance amending Ordinance 1789, adopted September 21st, 2020, pertaining to the exemption for the Norwich Roman Catholic Diocesan Corporation from the payment of taxes on certain property located at 25 Otis Street from the date of purchase.
Thank you. At this time, I request a motion from the floor to bring this to our attention and waive the full text and reading at this time. Is there such a motion? Alderwoman Gould, President Pro Tem Mark Bettencourt. Is there discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
City Manager's report.
Thank you. This is the City Manager's report for January 4th, 2021. I hope everyone has had a good holiday. Meetings attended via conference call or video were with the Southeastern Council of Governments, Region 4 Emergency Support Plan, Department of Health COVID-19 updates, Passport to Norwich Campaign Committee, and storm preparation. Thankfully, there were no major issues with the storm. The second installment of real estate, personal property bills, and motor vehicle supplemental bills are now due. Due to the pandemic, the City of Norwich has opted to lower the interest rate during the months of January, February, and March to 0.25% on any payments made and postmarked after February 1st, 2021. The City of Norwich continues to encourage taxpayers to pay their taxes remotely if possible. Current payments can be made in any Norwich People's United Bank locations during the month of January, including the drive-up window where payments can be processed via check or cash. Delinquent taxes will not be accepted at bank locations and must be paid at the City Hall Tax Office located at 100 Broadway. Taxpayers do not need to be People's United Bank customers to make their payments at a branch location. This partnership provides greater access and convenience to taxpayers. Payments can be made online at norwichct.org/taxes through the mail and in person. Fees for credit or debit card payments do apply, but there is no fee for online ACH/electronic check payments in the month of January. Public Works hosted a regional DEMIS COVID PPE distribution with approximately 200 participants on December 21st. The city clerk's office is working with the state of Connecticut Department of Health to create an electronic death registry to comply with federal regulations. New London County is the first to try out this new system. Norwich Human Services assisted 115 families with Christmas gifts and food for the holiday. The community donated over $2,000 to assist the family featured in the day's Make a Difference article. Thank you to La Stella Pizzeria, who coordinated a fundraiser for Norwich Youth and Family Services. The Greater Norwich Chamber held a check presentation on December 23rd, donating $1,200 to the Norwich Youth and Family Services. Thank you to the Norwich merchants and businesses who are also struggling due to the pandemic, who donated contents for the Downtown Norwich Theme Basket and those that purchased tickets. The money will be used to help youth and family programs access clothes, food, and pro-social opportunities that they would otherwise not have access to. The Recreation Department and Norwich Events Organization held holiday decorating contests this year. The winners were posted on the city's Facebook page. Thank you to those that decorated their homes and businesses in Norwich during the pandemic to make the holidays a little brighter. And that concludes my manager's report for this evening.
Thank you, John. Are there questions of our city manager? Alderman DeLucia, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. John, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have a question about your report, but I do have a question about some information that you have shared with us and that has also been in the press regarding the Reed and Hughes building. My first question, my first question is because the city or this council voted to fund that project to, I believe, a total of $150,000. Will there be any audit of the project now that we found out that it is not being brought to fruition? Essentially, the money that we kicked in towards the project, that project is now defunct. And I know that with federal monies, certain federal monies, if a project fails or falters, an audit happens to really kind of get the state of affairs in terms of fiscally and financially. Do we ever do that with a project that falters in this way?
We've worked closely with the Women's Institute during the reclamation project. The agreement does not specifically call for an audit upon completion. However, that doesn't mean that we can't get a reconciliation of approximately what was spent on the project to date. My understanding that the project to date was in excess of $500,000. It's readily visible in the sense that the building is still stable, has a new roof, and it's shored up on the interior with much cleaning. But although they're not contractually obligated to do an audit, I believe that prior to closing out this agreement, that we can be following up on that. Yes.
Okay. Second question, shorter, but probably not easier to answer. What happens next?
Well, the Women's Institute has said to us that they will seek a new developer. I'm not too too optimistic that that necessarily will be successful, but that will be the first step. We have to be careful here. I want to remind everybody, we do not own the building anymore. The building is owned under the auspices of the Women's Institute, so we don't have financial obligations per se on it. We should work very diligently with the Women's Institute and partner with them to see if there are other projects that would be applicable to this property. It's a difficult property to develop because the costs to renovate are expensive, and the rate of return based on the size of the building is limited, and that probably contributed somewhat to the project not going forward.
So other than our zoning regulations and the Commission on the City Plans Review and obviously our Planning and Neighborhood Services, we don't have a lot of say in what that building might now become because we don't have an ownership interest, and the Women's Institute could convey it to another developer with maybe an intent that we don't particularly like, but as long as it's in compliance with our zoning regulations, could move forward.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for the city attorney, but if we have a new developer, we'll have to have a new agreement with them if they transfer developmental rights to a new owner or developer. So we would have a say in the development plan at that stage, and of course, beyond that, with the items you mentioned about planning and other restrictive covenants on the property itself.
Okay. Last question. There was a lot of obviously. I had the word on the tip of my tongue. It was the position of a number of people that the building should be torn down, but I believe that was based on the condition it was in before the Women's Institute did the structural rehabilitation to it. And so are we in, is the building now essentially a viable building envelope? So the idea of tearing it down is now not one that anybody would really entertain, or not?
Well, when we went to the state to request the demolition, as you know, the building is part of the downtown national landmarks. So the state Historic Preservation Commission has jurisdiction via that program and that status. The building itself is not in imminent danger of collapse anymore. That was the stance I had taken to SHPO at that point to request a demolition permission, which was unfortunately unanimously denied by SHPO at that point, even though the building was in imminent danger of collapse. The building is no longer in imminent danger of collapse. We have been in there periodically. The roof membrane is holding up pretty well. There are, it's not exactly watertight. There are not new windows in there, and as such, there is probably still some penetration, but not nearly to the extent that was there before. So I think the building is safe for the foreseeable future. That was the reason that the city insisted on the renovation of the roof to be done first, because we knew that getting the funds was going to be a multi-year effort. And if they would have not stabilized the building might have collapsed before they had gathered all the funds. So although the building is not going to be developed through the Women's Institute, we certainly have gained the upper hand on preserving the building from a standpoint of structural integrity.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Other questions, City Manager? Yes, Alderman Wilson, please.
Good evening, Mr. Salamone. I just have really two questions going back to the part about the real estate personal property bills and supplemental motor vehicle bills that, of course, are due. Is it possible, and I think I've been saying this several times, that we work to possibly get this out in other languages for the different residents that may not read or speak English well, on either the website or Facebook, whatever it may be, so that we are being cognizant of those in the community that may not really understand the bills that are coming to them.
Yes, we certainly can do that. I'll work with city staff to try to make it a multilingual. It's always a challenge in the city because there are so many ethnic languages, but we will certainly move forward on trying to make it as available and user-friendly to understand as possible.
And then the only other piece that I have is I know you did put the link. Is there any way to put a cursor button or something on the front page for individuals to know where to click for taxes, so that there are really no complaints as far as having to search as to where to go and how to get to the spot on the website for taxes?
Well, the taxes itself, the format of the tax bill is already complete, and they have been distributed. So we can't do it through the tax bill. We can do it through other means of communication, like our Facebook and web page, and through the media. But the tax bill distribution first is prescribed by law, the format, and secondly, it's already been distributed to the taxpayers for the second payment, where applicable.
Correct. What I'm asking for is more so a shortcut, so that when individuals, we're encouraging people, of course, to pay remotely. Those that go to the city website to try to access it, they can directly get there instead of certain ones not being able to find it. That's what I'm asking.
Okay, so it's an easier way to access the information.
Yes.
We'll take a look at that with the web page supervisor on that, and with IT. Certainly, we want to make it as easy as we can to get the information needed to pay their taxes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Further questions? Okay, next, please.
Citizen comment on resolutions.
I declare citizen comment on the one resolution on our agenda to be open. It's relative to the grant application for historic restoration of a slate roof here on the roof of City Hall. If you wish to speak to us about this resolution, please dial in at 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID 403-8191, and then the pound key. The line is open. Again, if you wish to comment on the resolution on tonight's agenda, please call in at 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID 403-8191, and then the pound key. Again, the number to call in to speak to us about this resolution is 860-215-8140, followed by conference ID 403-8191 and the pound key. Our third request, please call in at 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID 403-8191 and the pound key to speak to us about a grant application for the historic restoration of a portion of the roof here on City Hall. The line is open. Seeing as there are no callers at this time, I would declare this public hearing to be closed. Thank you. New business?
Number 1, relative to a grant application.
Caller 0177, please state your name and address for the record.
Marv Ceruto, 100 Star Street, Norwich, Connecticut, United States of America. And sure, I will speak in favor of restoration of the roof of City Hall. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you. At this time, if there are no further calls tonight, I would then declare the public hearing to be closed. Thank you.
Relative to a grant application for historic restoration of a slate roofing repairs to City Hall.
Thank you. Motion, please bring this forward. Alderwoman Gould. Second, Alderwoman Ella Miles. Is there discussion? Seeing no discussion, please call the roll.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Alderwoman Gould, second by Alderman Nash. Roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Motion passes 7-0. We are adjourned.